Understanding the differences in off-road lighting technologies can be pretty difficult. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing the differences in the light sources that are commonly used in off-road lighting, such as LED lights, HID lights, and then halogen lights as well. And then I'll be showing you what the different pros and what the different cons are for these different lighting sources. Hey everyone, I'm Taylor with KC, and this is the first video in a brand new series that we are working on designed to answer your question of what off-road light do I need? There's so many different lighting options out there for off-road vehicles that we want this video series to help you make an informed decision when it comes time. Now, whether you're a veteran of off-roading or whether you're brand new into the world of overlanding, camping, four-wheeling, we think you're going to be able to find something that's helpful in this video series. LED stands for light emitting diode. Now this lighting technology relies on electroluminescence rather than incandescence. This is really just a fancy way of saying that the light created by an LED light comes from the non-thermal conversion of electrical energy into light energy. Incandescence, on the other hand, which is how halogen lights work, is when the electrical energy goes into heating up an element, and then the light that's given off from incandescence is actually from the very high temperature of that element itself. LEDs have many different advantages over traditional incandescent lights. These advantages include lower energy consumption, longer life, smaller size, and the ability to be powered or switched digitally. Now, in order to really understand how LED technology works, we got to go back to high school physics. I know it's a super scary time, but we're going to walk through this together. You remember electrons, right? The little teeny particles that carry negative charges of electricity. So in an LED, electricity goes into a semiconductor, which is holding a bunch of electrons. Now, when electricity goes in, it forces the electrons to move across that semiconductor. And then at the same time, during that same process, it forces them to move to a lower energy level. When electrons move to a lower energy level, they also release what's called a photon. And a photon is just a little particle or a little packet of light. So that's basically it. When we're seeing light from an LED or from a light emitting diode, all we're seeing is the release of a bunch of photons. Now I know that's a little bit confusing, so if you guys still have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer further. So what all of this means is that LEDs produce directional light, which is the light that shines in one general direction. And because of that directionality of light, LEDs allow the use of smaller reflectors compared to typical halogen lights. So that's why you've seen the typical LED light bar and LED pods. However, we know that the reflector size, so the chrome reflector inside, is directly responsible for controlling and aiming the light exactly where you want it to go. The way that reflectors work is that it captures any of that spill lighting. So we know that using a wider and a deeper reflector is going to result in more control and more precision out of the light itself. So for example, this KC daylighter here uses our gravity LED insert inside of it. Now our gravity LEDs use what's called the GRD, or our gravity reflective diode lighting system. What we do with the GRD technology is pretty unique and pretty different from anything else on the market. We take that directional LED and we aim it back at the reflector, which allows us to capture all of the light and get the most precision and aim and control out of the light itself. So another core benefit of LEDs is that they are much more energy efficient than both halogens and even HID lights. While being more energy efficient, they also produce less heat than both of those lighting technologies. Now, one common myth is that LEDs don't produce any heat at all, but that is not true at all because the semiconductors themselves can get pretty hot, which means that a good thermal management system is still needed inside of an LED light. A good high-quality LED has a lifetime of over 25,000 hours. But what good is longevity if an LED can't hold up to the rugged abuse of off-roading? Well, luckily the semiconductor inside of LEDs that release energy in the form of light is encapsulated in epoxy. And furthermore, there's no glass and there's no filament inside to get broken, so that makes LEDs super rugged and it can withstand shocks. they work in heat, they work in the cold, and overall LEDs are really great and really rugged, perfect for off-road use and abuse. The next light source that we're going to discuss is halogen. Now, in order to overcome the inefficiencies of standard incandescent lighting, halogen technology was created. Now, if you recall, a halogen light is a form of incandescent lighting, which is a technology that heats up a material to a very high temperature, causing the release of that thermal energy in the form of light. Most halogen lights are heating up a tungsten metal filament inside. And the big difference between a standard incandescent light and a halogen light is the presence of the halogen gas inside of that bulb itself. When that halogen gas is combined with the tungsten metal filament inside, a chemical reaction occurs when the light is turned on. Any of the tungsten that may have evaporated off of the filament itself gets redeposited because of that halogen gas back onto the filament. This redeposition of tungsten onto the filament allows the filament and the bulb to last longer and to burn hotter and brighter. Most halogen lights have a color temperature of around 3200 Kelvin, which makes them appear a little bit more yellow than sunlight or even LED or HID technologies. So one of the big pros of halogen off-road lights is that they are much more affordable than their LED and HID counterparts. Now, a big part of this is because this form of lighting technology has been around since it was first created in the early 60s back in Europe. So another big pro of halogen lights is that it's a proven technology. While halogen off-road lights provide great bang for their buck, there's still one big drawback to them that's worth considering when looking at this type of light source. This is that they are much less energy efficient than LEDs and HIDs. However, overall, halogens provide solid light output at medium to long distances. The last light source that we're going to discuss in this video is high intensity discharge or HID lights. Now, HID bulbs have no metal filament inside of them, but instead they use tungsten electrodes, which make them both reliable and long lasting. The electrodes in HID lights are sealed inside of a quartz tube, which is also filled with a gas, usually xenon, and various metal salts that are ignited to produce an extreme amount of light. As a matter of fact, the light that's produced from HID lights can easily exceed 2 to 3 times the distance of similar wattage LED and halogen lights. It's for that reason that these HID lights are often chosen by off-road racers for long-distance lighting applications. So one of the big pros for HID lights is that they're great for shooting light way out there. However, one of the cons or one of the drawbacks of HID lights is their color temperature. The color temperature produced from HID lights is often white or even sometimes a little bit bluish, which some people don't prefer. Another big drawback of HID lights is that they are not instant on, which means that these lights actually take a few seconds to warm up and reach peak intensity. So those are the two big cons of HID lights. However, overall, HID lights are a great balance of affordability and light output and extreme quality. So by now you probably know much more about off-road lights and the light sources that go into them than you ever thought was possible. So in conclusion, LED lights are a great blend of durability, longevity, and performance. Halogen lights are still a great option at a very affordable price point for everybody. And then finally, with HID lights, these are a light that combine good, solid output at a reasonable cost as well. Okay everyone, we did it. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned, this is just the first video in a series that's all about off-road lighting and that's designed to help you answer the question of what off-road light do I need? So if you guys are interested in seeing the rest of this series and watching our future videos that are about to come out, please click that subscribe button. And if you like this video, please let us know. Please let us know in the comment section below or let us know by liking the video. Thanks guys, and remember to adventure further.